So it all started with a monster book of a quality and a size that we had rarely seen for any Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition product, even from the official developers, but especially from the third-party developers. And I'm of course talking about the Tome of Beasts. 400 new monsters to add to your Dungeons & Dragons campaign, like the weirdest monsters. They were all weird, crazy, they were all new, there were new mechanics for it. And the book, everybody who uses third-party books at least knows about the Tome of Beasts, and almost everybody who uses third-party books has a copy of the Tome of Beasts. It's used all around the world. Almost every Dungeons & Dragons player knows about it. It's just such a great book. And then Kobold Press went to do it again, because the first book had some flaws, of course, and then they created the Creature Codex. Again, a heap, I think about 300 new creatures to add to your Dungeons & Dragons campaign, again with crazy artwork, crazy writing, everything you expect from Kobold Press. And now they're ready to do it all again. So here are my reasons why you should go over to the Kickstarter of Kobold Press and, well, back the Tome of Beasts 2. I just want to say my channel is endorsed by Kobold Press, but that does not mean they told me to create this video. As a matter of fact, I'm creating this video completely off the cuff, unscripted. I just want to point you guys towards this Kickstarter. The only agreement I have with Kobold Press is that they sent me like almost all of their stuff for free, and I put their stuff on top of my to review pile, and if I like him, I feature them on my channel. If I don't like him, I put him away. That's the agreement I have with them. So I'm creating this out of pure excitement and joy for the new Kickstarter, because I completely love the monster books by Kobold Press. The Tome of Beasts, let's just talk a little bit about the Tome of Beasts first. The Tome of Beasts for me is, well, it opened my eyes to what actually kinda was the first book I got from Kobold Press, and I actually paid for myself. I got it because it seemed very exciting to get 400 new monsters, and I was like very excited to have it. By the way, yes, I have the small version of it now because I gave my bigger version away to a viewer. Congratulations for the person who won it. The Tome of Beasts was a great book. It is still a great asset to have to your game. The only thing is it had a flaw. It had one major flaw, to my opinion, and that is the challenge ratings in this thing are completely off. I have seen a lot of people talk about it, and I've even seen people that work for Kobold Press talk about it and say, yeah, there might be some challenge rating problems in the book. And well, there for me, for my parties where I use them, they're completely off. I have had creatures of like challenge rating 7 or 8 put against like maybe like a level 6 or 7 party, and the party got completely wrecked. Of course it can happen always because it's a dice game, and then maybe the dice fall in your favor or the dice don't fall in your favor. But for the Tome of Beasts it happens quite a lot. You have to add like 1 or 2 at least to every challenge rating. At least in like the mid-level, level 9, level 10-ish. There are some dangerous creatures in there that can just outright kill your players. They're done for. I mean, it's just, that was a major problem for the Tome of Beasts. A lot of people had that problem, but nevertheless the Tome of Beasts was full of great art, great writing, and there were a lot of people working on it. It is just a perfect thing to have for your 5th edition campaign. If you well, if you keep track of the challenge ratings and you just add some to the challenge ratings, you're completely fine. It's an awesome book. And then Kobold Press went to do it again, and they created the Creature Codex. The Creature Codex again is a book, I think it has over 300 beasts, 300 monsters. Well, I actually don't know why they called it the Creature Codex instead of the Tome of Beasts 2. I never, because at first I thought it was called the Tome of Beasts 2, at least for a while, as a working title or something. As a matter of fact, the Tome of Beasts 2 trademark logo is right here on the back of the thing. So I think that they just changed the name or something. Again, a great book, and they completely, well, for 95% they fixed the challenge rating issue with this one. So now Kobold Press has even more experience creating monster books. The first one was like, hey, we're gonna create a monster book, and there were some issues with the first monster book. It's like creating anything, the first thing you create is always like, it's a bit off. Then the second thing you create is better, and this thing is, the monsters aren't better, they're just as good, they're as weird, they're as dangerous, they're just far off. But the challenge rating and the balancing issues and the mechanics, they're just more balanced, they're just better. And now Kobold Press is just ready to release the Tome of Beasts 2, which is the third monster book they are releasing. And I, personally, am very excited for that. Now, I could stand here and tell you to go over to the Kickstarter page, link in the description below, by the way, and put all your money into this Kickstarter. But I'd be like lying a little bit, because they actually already reached $200,000 of their $30,000 goal. Their goal was to collect $30,000 to make this thing happen, and they collected $200,000. So they're gonna make this thing happen. So don't worry, the Tome of Beasts 2 is absolutely coming. It's a major success. But if you, all I want to say is to go over to the Kickstarter page and at least look at it. The reason I'm doing this video is just to make sure everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about the Tome of Beasts 2, because I'm very excited about it. And I just want you guys to be excited about it, because it's going to be completely awesome. I'm like 150% sure that it's going to be completely awesome. But if you are planning on buying it anyway, so if you go to the Kickstarter, go to it just to know that it's there, and maybe buy it after the Kickstarter once it comes out. I don't know. But if you're planning on buying it anyway, like a lot of people are, backing the Kickstarter is actually a good idea. Because first of all, the more people that back the Kickstarter, the more money that comes in. And the more money that comes in, the more they can pay like the excellent writers, and they can pay people to work on art, and the book is just going to be more amazing. And the more pledge goals they get, the more like crazy new monsters they're going to add to the book. So the book is going to be bigger, better, harder, faster, stronger, anything, if people keep backing this thing. And I am sure that people are going to keep backing this thing up until the end of the Kickstarter. And there's also some great rewards and some great things for you to get if you decide on becoming a Kickstarter backer person, because, well, there are some cool extras for you to get. Of course, like always, it is a Kickstarter, and there's going to be pledge levels when there is a Kickstarter. So there are PDFs you can get the PDF plus a hard copy, you can get all kinds of combinations. But the greatest thing that Kobold Press does with these monster books is actually allow you to submit your own monster to the book. I think from the moment you invest $25, if I'm not mistaken, you actually have the chance to send in one monster. You can create one monster. You don't need to have artwork for it. You just write it up, and Kobold Press reviews it, and it picks and chooses the best monsters from the community to put in their book, which is an awesome thing to do. I just think it drives community. It just drives people's imagination, like, oh, I got this monster idea that's not totally worked out, I need to work on that, I'll send it to Kobold Press, who knows. Oh, by the way, if you create a monster for the book and it's like a Tarrasque with a suit or just a t-shirt, and you call it Mr. Tarrasque, and it ends up in the book, I will absolutely come to your place and play a game of Dungeons and Dragons personally with you and your friends. I don't care where you are in the world. That's a promise. Also, I'm bringing my girlfriend because she'd love that. And the more money that comes in, the more monsters from the community that are going to be added to the book. So again, the more money that comes in, the more monsters that are going to be in the book, also from the community, which is completely awesome. I think that's so cool. Then there is another thing. There is the Tome of Beasts 2 Lairs book, which is a book full of lairs. Well, actually, it's like a bunch of maps together with encounters. You can play those encounters on those maps, and those encounters are completely built with the Tome of Beasts 2 monsters. So you can just take the lairs map, you're gonna have like a bunch of people rolling up characters, and you're just sit at the table and just like, let's play some monsters from this book, let's test out some monsters. Of course, there's going to be tokens, like always, you can put on those maps. All that jazz is going to be there, so it's really worth checking that stuff out. If you are planning on buying it in the future, or you're planning on backing the Kickstarter, make sure to check it out, because you really don't want to miss out on that stuff. Another thing worth stating is that, well, of course, they're having pledge levels where they add new types of monsters to the book, and you can check that out on the Kickstarter page. The last pledge level is $240,000, if I'm not mistaken. If they reach that, they will add 3 more monsters that have a challenge rating of below 1. So I think personally that's very important, because I have been playing Dungeons and Dragons for forever. I think 17, 18 years right now. I've been a dungeon master for 15 of those years, maybe 16, maybe 14, I don't know, of those years. I've been a dungeon master for a long time, and I've used kobolds, I've used goblins, I've used ghouls, I've used everything, and I just think that having a more lower level creatures is always a good idea, especially when in the current state of Dungeons and Dragons, where a lot of new people are discovering Dungeons and Dragons, and you need to explain the game to them, and you need to have like low level encounters for them to get excited, to get up into role playing, and get used to combat mechanics of 5th edition. It's always very cool to have new low level monsters, not for them because they haven't fought goblins before, they haven't fought ghouls before in Dungeons and Dragons, but just for you as a dungeon master, it's just fun to have something else. And probably all of those things have different mechanics, because if there's one thing that Kobold Press does very well in their monster books, is they have mechanics that you don't see in other monster books. Like, for example, in the official 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons books, the monster books, there are few strength saving rolls. Like, there aren't a lot of strength saving rolls. They kind of fixed that with the newer monster books. There are some strength saving rolls, but I always had players like, you know, I am proficient at strength saving throws, but I rarely get to roll a strength saving throw. What's up with that? It's always dexterity. Everywhere you look, it's dexterity, which is great, but I'm also proficient in strength. I won't roll a strength saving throw. Kobold Press actually has a lot of beasts that use strength saving throws, so they really take those things from players and from the community, put them in their books, and that's what makes their products so great. They're like products that are made out of love for the game, and they're made by a community for a community. Now, I had the question from a person on Twitter, asking why should I back a Kickstarter that already is fully funded, while there are also Kickstarters that I like that are not yet fully funded. Well, I have one very good reason for that. Well, actually I have 2 very good reasons for that. The first one being that the products are completely amazing, and you know up front they're going to be completely amazing, but I've already told you that. The second reason is that if you want to support the community, supporting Kobold Press is actually a very good idea, because Kobold Press puts a lot of people to work. Like a lot. There is not like 3 or 4 people working on these books. There's actually a bunch of people. There's a gazillion names in all the books that Kobold Press does. I'm talking about people that are on the Kobold Press payroll, I guess, and a shit ton of freelancers, writers, artists, playtesters. There's streamers that actually have a job, well, a job because of Kobold Press. Kobold Press puts a lot of people to work, and they create products that are specially made for the community, and they are made by community members. I know some of these people that work on this stuff. I know them kind of personally, like on a first name basis, kind of personally, and I just know they work their ass off. And some of them, they try to work for Wizards of the Coast and might sometimes work for Wizards of the Coast a little bit, but they are so talented, and Wizards of the Coast is just a company that also has a few people working for them, but they can't hire more maybe, so these people, they want to work and they do amazing stuff, and Kobold Press puts them to work, which is absolutely amazing. And there's a lot of those people that get a job because of Kobold Press. So I just think that's so freaking important that there's such a big third-party publisher out there for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, because it creates so much good stuff at your table, at my table, on the internet, on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere. And that's basically it. That's all there is to say about Tome of Beasts 2, which is coming, which is fully funded, which is going to be amazing. We just know that. And my backpack that I have, full of books that I use for every game, is going to be a lot heavier when this thing comes out, because I'm probably going to carry it everywhere. And maybe I should just, I don't know, maybe I should prepare my games more and just bring those books instead of free-balling it half the time, just opening a book and like, just pick this monster, just do an encounter, and my players don't seem to mind. Anyway, I'm very excited for these 400 or so new monsters that are coming our way. You probably noticed that I'm just gonna go out now. I'm gonna make another video that I'm releasing next week on a software I really want you guys to check out. Until that time, I hope your inspiration may guide you.